Hi guys, this is Carisha again, here to help you prepare for your interview. This is part 2 of our 2-part interview video, so if you haven't seen the first one, go ahead and pause this video and check it out first before continuing. Now for the interview and what to expect. The first stage of an interview is made up of the initial impressions. It takes less than 8 seconds to make one, and in one study it took as little as 33 milliseconds. First impressions are hard to get rid of, and some impressions will be out of your control or based on the interviewer's own bias. Once impressions are primed, they will have a snowball effect, where your unclear actions are viewed based on how the initial impression went. If you do things right, that's a good thing. Make a good impression in the beginning, and not only will you be treated better, but you will do the same in return. So, what will you be doing when they call your name? Now it's your turn. Introduce yourself with a simple hello in your name. When the interviewer introduces themselves, repeat their name. The more often you address the interviewer by their name, the more likely you will remember it and hopefully make a good connection. In the US and many other countries, handshakes tend to be a proper way to introduce yourself to someone, so just in case, make sure your palms are dry before you meet with the interviewer. Handshakes should be firm without squeezing and should last no more than the amount of time it took you to introduce yourself, so make sure to let go. Considering the pandemic, other forms of introductions, such as nods and hand waves, have increased in popularity. Pay attention to the interviewer and just follow their lead. After the introductions, the interviewer may chat with you about the day, weather, etc. Feel free to start the conversation by thanking them for the invitation, giving out any genuine compliments, or asking or making remarks about what you've seen in the building so far. The interviewer may share the agenda and interview process, but feel free to ask if they do not. Remember, use good body language. Blink normally while looking at the current speaker. This isn't a staring or blinking contest. When sitting, make sure to lean slightly forward and avoid fidgeting. Your arms and hands should be on the table, not underneath, on your face, or folded. Ideally, you will have a notepad to write on. Finally, your feet should be on the ground or crossed at your ankles. If you're wearing a skirt, you may need to cross your legs. Now, the formal interview will start. The interviewer will likely ask a variety of behavioral and technical questions, with one of the most common ones being, "Tell me about yourself." We suggest making an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is a 30 to 60 second, well-crafted story that answers who you are, what you've done, what you can do, and why they should hire you. This pitch would answer the "Tell me about yourself" question along with several others. With a few modifications, it can even be used as a sales pitch for when you apply for a promotion. For the rest of the questions, consider using the S.O.A.R method when sharing examples. This acronym will help you put together a well-structured story. The S stands for the situation. Share some background information about what was happening in the situation. Next is O for obstacle to overcome. What problem arose that had to be taken care of? A stands for actions taken. What actions did you take? Elaborate on your thought process, what the possible actions were, and what consequences there could have been. This helps the interviewer understand how well you thought through a situation. Finally, the R is for resolution. Share what happened as a result of the actions you took. Did the company avoid a customer service issue? Was there money saved? Some stories may even answer more than one question. For example, sharing a story about how you were able to take care of a customer may show off your communication skills, your de-escalation experience, and your technical abilities. Similarly, a story about how you handled a conflict with a coworker or put together a large project could show off multiple attributes. We suggest you come up with several stories from your professional, educational, and volunteer experiences that you can share at any given notice. The last stage of the interview is the questions you get to ask. Ask about the work culture, who you'll be working with, hours, etc. You want to find out if the job is a good fit for you. Here are some other sample questions that you can ask. What does a typical workday look like? What are some of the challenges a person in this position would face? If you're wondering about salary and benefits, make sure to save that question for the last interview. That's if they haven't covered it already. Interviews can be formatted in a variety of ways, so it's a good idea to be a little acquainted with some of the other interview types. Some interviews may be conducted over the phone. These types of interviews are usually for screening purposes and will generally be quick conversations to make sure you're A, qualified, and B, comfortable with the position. Considering the virus, many interviews are going virtual. Similar to the phone call interview, they may be quick in nature. That said, they may request a video presentation instead. A traditional interview is the face-to-face conversation at a table you normally think of when you imagine an interview. They're one-on-one and can last upwards of an hour. In some cases, the interviewer could be the actual manager you will be working with. The lunch interview is a rarer form of an interview used in higher level positions or in sales. For jobs that routinely have lunch meetings with clients, this form of an interview tests you on how well you handled this type of meeting. The most important tip we can give you for this type of interview is that the focus of the meeting is on your conversation, not on the meal. We suggest picking something light that won't get messy while you eat. The case interview is a type of interview where the interviewer gives you a case or word problem to figure out. They want to see your thought process, so make sure to show your work or explain to them how you reached your answer. The case they present to you will be an example of what you can expect on the job. The working interview is exactly what it sounds like. The interviewer will provide you with a task that would normally be done by an employee and ask you to perform it to the best of your abilities. At the end, they will review your work to see how well you did. The group interview is a type of interview that asks multiple interviewees to meet at the same time. You'll have to speak up, work with a team, and make sure not to dominate the entire meeting. In the firing squad interview, you'll be alone with multiple employees. They will each ask you a variety of questions. While intimidating, this is very similar to the traditional interview, just with more interviewers. The puzzle interview will be an interview where you'll have to solve a puzzle. There may or may not be a right answer, since it's more about how you answer it. Your best bet is to treat it seriously and describe how you would solve the puzzle. You may be asked to solve a question like, how many ping pong balls fit into a limo? Or, how would you walk a variety of animals into the zoo? Finally, the career fair interview is a quick form interview where you meet with a recruiter at a career fair and talk about your qualifications. This conversation is usually less than 15 minutes, but is a surefire way to make a good impression and be considered for the job. These interview types may be mixed and matched in a variety of ways, so make sure to ask how the interview will be conducted when you first get a call back. After the interview, ensure you pick up a business card or get the interviewer's contact information so that you can message them later to say thank you for their time. Things will undoubtedly go wrong at some point. When they do, remember that it's all about the recovery. Here are some common interview mistakes that you should take care to avoid. In some way or another, each of these will negatively affect your interview, so make sure to prepare your answers ahead of time, particularly for those questions about your employment history. If things did end up poorly at a previous position, just keep your answers short, simple, and professional. And of course, never ever lie. After every interview, review how well you did. What did you say or do? Was there a joke or compliment that went well? How about any questions you answered? Take the time to practice, and you'll definitely come out a rock star. Remember, you're not alone, so reach out to the CAS Lab for mock interview assistance. We can go over questions with you and give you feedback on how well you did. You can contact us via phone or email. And don't forget, guys, follow us on Instagram.